It was late afternoon when the sun cast a soft golden glow over the backyard, the kind of light that made everything look just a bit more peaceful than it really was. I was inside the house, wiping down the kitchen counters, listening to the faint chatter coming from the patio. My husband, Jake, was laughing at something his best friend, Tyler, had said. They'd been friends since college, close enough that Jake considered him a brother and I considered him part of the family. Tyler had always been around. Birthdays, BBQs, holidays, he was there for it all. He was the kind of friend who never knocked, just let himself in and grabbed a soda from the fridge like he lived there. It never bothered me. Honestly, I was grateful Jake had someone like him. He was dependable, kind, and always willing to help out. But lately, there'd been something different in the air. Something I couldn't quite put my finger on. It started subtly. Tyler started showing up more often than usual, popping in when Jake wasn't home yet, offering to help me with groceries, asking if I needed anything fixed around the house. He'd linger a little longer during conversations, ask questions that felt a little more personal. Not inappropriate, just careful. As though he were watching every word, every reaction. That particular Saturday was supposed to be a laid-back gathering, just the three of us. Jake had invited Tyler over to hang out and watch the game. I made some snacks, poured a few beers, and gave them space like I usually did. But Jake had gotten a call halfway through the second quarter work emergency. Something about a broken system at the office. He groaned, promised he'd be back in a couple of hours, kissed me on the cheek, and was gone before I could even protest. That left Tyler and me. I stood awkwardly in the kitchen, drying my hands with a dish towel, debating whether to retreat upstairs and leave him to the game. But before I could say anything, Tyler turned the TV volume down and called out to me. "Hey, you don't have to disappear, you know," he said with a half-smile, standing in the doorway between the living room and the kitchen. "I'm not that bad of company." I smiled politely. "I know. Just didn't want to interrupt your game. Jake's the one who cares about it, not me," he replied, stepping inside the kitchen. Honestly, I was kind of hoping we'd get a moment to talk. That caught me off guard. I tilted my head, unsure of where this was going. "Oh." He leaned against the counter, arms folded across his chest, looking a little nervous, something I wasn't used to seeing on him. Tyler was usually confident, relaxed, the type to joke through any awkward moment. But not today. Today he looked tense. "I've been meaning to say something for a while," he began, avoiding my eyes. But I wasn't sure if it was the right thing to do. Or if it was even my place. I gave a soft laugh, trying to ease the tension. "You're being really cryptic. Should I sit down for this?" "Yeah," he said quietly. "Maybe you should." My heart picked up pace. I pulled out a chair at the kitchen table and sat, the room suddenly feeling warmer than before. Tyler sat across from me, rubbing the back of his neck like he was searching for the right words. "I know this is going to sound crazy," he said. "And I've gone back and forth about whether I should just stay quiet. But the more I've kept it in, the more it's been eating at me." "Tyler, what's going on?" I asked, feeling that something serious was about to drop. He looked up at me, finally meeting my eyes. "It's Jake. There's something he hasn't told you." That made my stomach twist. My immediate instinct was to defend my husband. "What do you mean?" He hesitated. "Look, I'm not trying to come between you two. I swear. But I think you deserve to know. You're smart. You've probably felt something's been off." I didn't respond. I didn't want to give away that, in fact, I had felt something. Jake had been a little distant lately, distracted. But I chalked it up to work stress. Tyler continued. "He's been seeing someone else." The words hung in the air, heavy and sharp. I blinked, trying to process what I'd just heard. "No. That's not possible," I said, shaking my head. "Jake wouldn't do that." "I didn't want to believe it either," Tyler said. "But I've seen the texts. The late-night calls. I've even seen him with her once, when he said he was working late. I happened to be nearby and saw him at a bar with someone else. And they weren't talking like co-workers." My breath caught. I stared at him, waiting for him to say he was joking, that it was all some twisted misunderstanding. But his expression remained sincere. Why are you telling me this? I finally asked. Why now? Because it's wrong, he said, his voice firm. And because I care about you. That last part made me pause. Tyler reached across the table, resting his hand on mine. I care about you more than I probably should. And not just because Jake's my friend. It's more than that. I pulled my hand away, stunned. Tyler. I know. It's not fair. I tried not to feel anything. I kept telling myself it was just admiration, that I was just being protective because you're a good person. But it's not just that. He stood up, pacing a little. I've watched you for years. Seen how you take care of everyone, how you keep this whole thing together. And when I saw what Jake was doing, I couldn't stand it. I couldn't keep lying to you by saying nothing. I stood up too, unsure of what to say or feel. My emotions were a tangle: shock, confusion, anger, maybe even a trace of betrayal that someone I trusted could hold these secrets for so long. You should have told me sooner, I said softly. I know, he admitted. But I was scared of hurting you. And of what it would do to us, all of us. I nodded slowly, still trying to breathe through the realization. Tyler stepped closer, his voice low and gentle now. I don't expect anything from you. I'm not trying to take his place. I couldn't let you keep living in the dark. For a long moment, we stood there in silence. Outside, the wind picked up, rustling the leaves of the old oak tree in the backyard. The world hadn't changed, but everything in my world had. When Jake returned an hour later, I was calm. I didn't scream, didn't cry. I simply asked him to sit, and we talked. And as the truth unraveled, yes, there had been someone else, yes, he'd been distant for a reason. I realized that the man I thought I'd built a future with had been drifting for longer than I knew. The days that followed were hard. There were tears, late-night arguments, long silences. Jake and I tried to repair what we could, but some cracks run too deep. Eventually, we decided to separate, not out of hatred, but because honesty demanded it. Tyler never pressured me. He gave me space. Weeks passed, then months. And slowly, our friendship returned, though it looked different now. There was no pretense, no secrets. Just two people who had weathered a storm and found something real on the other side. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if Tyler and I will ever be more than friends. But I do know this: when the world around me felt like it was falling apart, he didn't walk away. He waited until we were alone, and he told me the truth, not for his sake, but for mine. And in that moment, I learned that sometimes the hardest truths come from the people who care the most.